So usually what people get is this one. PV Narasimha Rao is a former Prime Minister of India. Oh, this is the Wikipedia page for him. You can go there. This is PV Narasimha Rao. He was the former Prime Minister of India between 1991 to 1996. He was actually instrumental in changing the future for India. So when we were all kids, he made a, he opened up the economy for us. Otherwise, it was a closed economy by then. And today it's an open economy, and he belongs to our state. So we have special respect for him in the Telugu community. So besides that, he has been the luck for me. So whenever I started with his lecture, it was always good. After a long time, we are starting up on charts. So 28 June 1921. So approximate time given as 13. That means afternoon 1 o'clock. Okay. Nobody debates upon the D1 chart. Okay. So what I'm trying to do here is, based on the events that we have here and a few things that we have already learned. So I will only deal with those things which are already taught in the classes. There can be so many things that we can infer from this. I'm not touching upon any of those things. Only those that are already covered in these 50 classes that we have done. I think 50 classes have already gone by. So only those things we'll touch upon. Okay. One thing is that if you see, okay, PV Narasimha Rao was born on 28 June 1921 in a Telugu Niyogi Brahmin family in the village of Laknepalli, village of Narsampet Mandal, Warangal district, okay, of present-day Telangana and then part of Hyderabad state. His father was Sita Rama Rao and mother was Rukma Bai, hailed from agrarian families. He belonged to an agrarian family. They were farmers. Later, he was adopted by Pamulaparthi Rangarao. So PV Narasimha Rao did not stay with his original parents, but he lived with his foster parents. So he went into adoption. Okay. So what do we look for adoption? Anyone? If somebody has to get into adoption.
Sir, I think Kritika Nakshatra.
Hasta Nakshatras.
Okay. Hasta Nakshatra. Okay. Hasta Nakshatra can get you into adoption. But here it is Chitra. So what can we do to make this as Hasta? We can roll the time a little backwards, 12:50. Then it becomes, in 10 minutes of time, it gets into Hasta. So more likely Hasta can be a possibility. So it can either be Hasta first Charana, second Charana, third Charana, or fourth Charana. There are 4 Charanas in Hasta. Okay. This is how we will start correcting. Okay. So how do we decide the other next things? So one is for sure is that if you look at this chart, right? Look at the Lagna. Okay, whoever wants to have the North Indian chart, I can put the North Indian chart as well. Okay, see this chart. Look at the 10th house. You have 3 planets: Mars, Mercury, and Sun. Okay, he's a politician. Everybody knows. So we don't have any doubt about his D1 chart. More likely, this is the D1 chart. The only thing is the other divisional charts. Is it right or not is the question. So the understanding is, because he went into adoption, we have corrected this to Hasta. How do we know it is Hasta? Because I've made a video of 2 hours long. Anybody can go and refer into Hasta, that the person can go into adoption. So how do we decide that? As either the cusp of the Lagna has to fall into Naksh of the Hasta, or into the Lagna Lord dispositor has to fall into Hasta. Okay. Or the nakshatra that is opposite to Hasta, that is Uttara Bhadra, can also have adoption thing. Okay, there can be 2 mothers, 2 fathers thing even in Uttara Bhadra. Okay, so Mercury is the Lagna Lord, so he is in Punarvasu. So no way you can have Hasta on the other side. So it should be Hasta in the cusp of the Lagna itself. Okay, that is when the adoption can happen. Then the other thing is we can look at when he got married, because we have done the timing of marriage. Okay, spouse. Satyama, he married in the year 1931. Okay, so let us look at the D9 chart. First, let us look at the D1 chart and understand where the moon is. The moon is in the 7th house. Okay, so the moon is in the 7th house. We use the Janmatara Vimsottari. Otherwise, we have to pick up the variation of the moon. The variation of the moon is based on if it is in the 2nd or the 6th house moon, it should be the 4th star Kshematara. If it's the 3rd or the 11th moon, it should be the Utpannatara. If it is in the 8th or the 12th moon, it should be the Adhanatara. Okay. So now, because the moon is in a quadrant, it does not need any correction. The moon's simple Janmatara moon will decide the dashas. The next thing that we need to see is, are there any planets in the 9th house in the D1? There are no planets in the D1 9th house. However, the 9th lord is Venus. He can influence some part of the marriage. Okay. In the D9, now we will correct D9 based on when the marriage happened. Okay. Marriage happened in 1931. If you see Mercury was giving marriage. If the Mercury was in the 12th house, you cannot, okay, how do we see this? Now see, this is a Cancer Lagna, okay? The D9 Lagna is Cancer. So how do we do this? The whole thing I have given it in a video, timing marriage using Vimsottari Dasha. There is excellent explanation of the whole article. You have to read the whole article to do the correction. Okay, whoever thinks that this is difficult to understand, go to that video, read it completely, even the article, and then come here. Okay, on the article side, you can go here into the website and go to study, and to Navamsha, you have timing of marriage. You see here, this is the one. Go to timing of marriage. Okay, here is the one. Okay, Vimsottari Dasha timing marriage. I have done the video as well. You can click on this and follow through, and based on from there you can understand how to time it. Now the Lagna is a movable sign. So from the Lagna, the trines and the 7th house will work. So movable sign. So what are the trines that you have? You have Saturn and the Pisces, you don't have any planet. Okay, the 7th house you have Sun. So Mercury cannot influence marriage. Okay. Now, what if I've moved this Lagna to the previous sign? Okay. Now you have a dual sign, okay, which is a Dvisvabhav Rasi or a dual sign. Gemini is a dual sign. So now the 7th Lord has to influence the marriage, or if one of the planets is in the own sign or the 7th sign, I mean, either the Mercury or the Jupiter, if they are in the own signs, then that can also influence the marriage more. So now Mercury is in the own sign. The 7th Lord is the Jupiter. From the Jupiter, find the trines. So you have Mercury, Moon, Rahu, and Mars in trines from Jupiter. So any of these planets can influence marriage. Now Mercury is more stronger, so Mercury gave the marriage. So unless this comes as, I mean, unless the Lagna becomes Mercurian one, you cannot have the marriage to take place. This is one thing. Now you can also check D10. From the D10, you will see that the horoscope has Scorpio as Lagna. Just check when will the Lagna change in D10. Okay, so it is 8 minute 23 second earlier or 4 minute 12 second later. Okay, now if you see the Scorpio Lagna, Does it appeal to be a politician's chart? I don't think so, unless the sun gets into the Lagna. So the previous sign, if you move, I'll tell you why I have moved this. Still the Navamsha Lagna has not changed. It is still the Navamsha Lagna remained there only. Now I have come back to D10. Okay, in the D10 you have, just check the planets that you have here. Okay, in the D10. The simplest rule for anybody to check profession is, I have touched upon a few things for D10 in an explanation of D10 chart. There is a video available. You can go through it. The other shortcut is check the planets and the Lord of the Dashamsha Lagna back in the D1 chart. They would show the profession. So now check the Dashamsha Lagna. It is Libra. You have Sun, Mars, and Rahu. So Venus, Sun, Mars, Rahu will decide the profession of the person here. So Sun, Mars are in the 10th house. So it has to be a public, public service or something that has to do with the power, connection of power, etc. You can do this. You can further it with the events, and you can time the power and stuff like that. You can also use another dasha called the Kalachakra Dasha, which we will learn maybe in a few days. We will talk about this also. Always use two dasha systems so that you are not failing. Even if one does not work, the other one will support you and tell you, look, some of this Vimsottari is not right. You have to use a different variation of Vimsottari because it does not tally with the Kalachakra Dasha. Okay. You can use any number of dashas for confirmation, but always use at least two so that you will be clear. Okay. So now the time that comes up is like 12:33, okay, or even 12:30. Okay. So around that, the time is, and the D1 has not changed. The Rashi will remain like this. And the Navamsha is changed. If you see, P.V. Narasimha Rao is known for his strength of speaking 14 languages. Okay. So his Navamsha has to show that. He has Mercury in own house in retrogression in the first house, which is Gemini. Okay. Gemini is language, right? It has to show up there. And also look at the kind of planets that he has in the quadrants. Okay, what all he has, this is another shortcut to find out whether the person will be powerful or not. The more the number of planets in the quadrants in the D1, they are going to give you better results or chances of getting better results in life. Okay, more number of planets in the quadrants, it means you may have either more money, more power, etc. This is one more way of looking at it. I mean, do not think I don't have any planets in the quadrants, it means that I'm going to be poor. Okay, that is not the conclusion. Okay. The statement is, if you have more planets in the quadrants, likeliness of having money or power is likely. Does not mean the reverse is true. Okay, reverse means I don't have any planets in the quadrants. Am I poor? No, there are other yogas which can bring you richness for you. Not necessarily every time you need to have the same, or the opposite of it is also true. Now, just look at those planets back in the, okay, one second. What are all those planets that we have noted down in the quadrants? Mars, Sun, Mercury, and Moon. Okay. These four planets, if they are in quadrants, once again, he becomes a businessman or a person who's going to get a lot of money. Okay. Because quadrants are supports. If these happen to be in the 159, okay, then he's going to get power. All that this man had was power and language. Okay, if you read his history, etc., what you will understand is he all through has ran a minority government with the help of the opposition. He has taken a lot of decisions in the good for the country. It was too difficult for any government who, that came up in the center, because none of them had power to execute a lot of things which were good for the country. But despite that, this man could do a lot, okay, because of these planets that, has contributed for the power. You can see the Mercury, the Mars, the Jupiter, the Moon, and the Rahu, all those planets that happen to be in the D1 quadrants moved into the trines. Okay, this is one of those rules which you can look for. I'm not saying that if you have planets here, then they should be only in the trines here. That is when you will cope up with the power. That is that is very immature. However, this works pretty well in case of politicians. Anybody has any questions? Was it too fast? Probably you must have understood. How's
No,
that?
sir.
Sir, it was a little hard to digest. I mean,
Okay.
I have not understood the whole concept in one go. I'll
Okay.
have to go over the video again. But I have
Glad that I
a
heard first
question.
time Ustad saying I have not understood and I have to go through the video again. I'm glad. Okay, great. Yes, tell me.
I asked the question regarding the calculation of Rahu.
Hmm.
So in this chart, Rahu is showing as Atmakaraka even after having 0 degree.
Hmm.
But Atmakaraka, I believe, has the highest degree.
Correct.
So
But this
in
this
this
this travels
software,
backward, right?
so yes, that was what I was asking. So whether we should
Just
calculate.
use the software. Why do you calculate?
No, like in this software, it's showing 0 degree
Hmm.
and it is calculating 30 minus 0 degree, then it is taking it as Atmakaraka.
Correct.
So for Sun Rahu conjunctions, Sun Ketu
No.
conjunctions,
You are
do we
confusing
have?
yourself. No, I'll get the
That's why.
Okay, I'll
Yes,
clear
I
the
am
confusion.
confused.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Okay.
For Atmakaraka calculations, okay, what are you taking is you're taking a snapshot of what are all those planets were present at the time of the birth. So you're taking a photograph of each planet wherever they are. Okay, you're just taking a photograph. Now these are all stationary, they're not going to move. Okay, now you remove 30 degrees from Rahu and then calculate where it is based on where Rahu is. That is a different thing. Now, when we are talking about the eclipse thing, what I told you is in the future, are they going to move forward or backward? That's a different thing, and this is a different thing. You're trying to mix up two things.
Okay.
Yeah, these are two different things you're mixing up.
Okay. Now I understood.
Yeah.
I think the question is probably more around the Atmakaraka is calculated based on the degrees, right? The higher the number of degrees, that planet will be the Atmakaraka.
Correct.
In this case, even though Rahu has 0 degrees, it's still considered as Atmakaraka because you're counting.
Because Rahu has already traveled all those 29 degrees.
Exactly.
Okay, that is why Rahu is the Atmakaraka. Have you understood this now, Ustad? Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Now I understood.
Yeah.
Yes, now I understood completely because Rahu has already traveled the highest number of degrees.
Correct.
So by subtracting, we are calculating the travel. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I understood.
Yeah. Suresh, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I thought people will challenge this. Okay, maybe it was too fast. You may have to pause it here and there. Go back with the rules on how to correct horoscopes. Please use these techniques. What I'm saying is do your birth time rectification based on events. Please do not do mathematical calculations. Okay, mathematical calculations of Kunda, Pranapada Lagna, all these will work after having done all these event correction. If you want to further do, if you've already got 12:30 now, you want to confirm it to be 12:30, 15 seconds or 12:31 or when you want to move it just by a minute or so. What I have seen is a certain people, whoever, I don't know, I don't remember what the technique was. They are taking one particular divisional chart and they are checking one particular planet and they are trying to place that into the trine or something. It's a mathematical thing. Nothing works like that. Please don't fall for such things. Always correct them based on the events. And the chart should look appealing to you based on what you are seeing. It should, I mean, if you see this, okay, And without any bias, it should appeal that this is a chart of a big man who's a politician. It has to appeal. It shouldn't be in a way wherein, we're talking about something and we're showing something else. Okay. I think we have completed very early today. I thought we'll take long time. That's why I've finished up the lecture quite early so that I can make more time for the chart. All right. So what do we do? Do we say goodbye to each other now? Or anybody has anything to share or talk about? We have another half hour.
Have you got these rules regarding the Vimsottari? When do we take Janmatara Nakshatra
Yeah.
or Chematara Nakshatra
I have done
listed in some video?
yes. Yes.
Okay, then I have not seen it.
It is
That's why
Vimsottari
I
Dasha
couldn't.
variations. It is there in a video. Even Sanjay Rath sir has given the rules for it. Here also in this chart, I have mentioned Vimsottari Dasha variations, marriage timing. Okay, when you're using D9 chart.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have gone through them once, but I did not understand the logic as to why we use Shematara and why to use different taras every time.
Okay, I'll give you the logic. Okay, let us suppose you take this. Okay, this is the chart. Okay, 12:30 is the time of the birth. Just see where is the Uttarabhadra, how much Uttarabhadra has already gone by. Okay, that's the nakshatra of the day. So close to
Okay.
about 50% of the time is gone by. Now, if I just look at the Vimsottari timings. Take this Vimsottari Dasha. The Saturn Dasha starts on 1911, 8th month, 6th date. Okay, August 6th, 1911. 1930, it ends. Okay, now I'm just moving the time to what I do is, I don't know, maybe I'll move it to 10:30. Okay, now you see the Leo has moved. It has moved. The Lagna has moved, but the Dasha still remains at the same place. Hardly it has moved. Okay.
Okay.
It would still remain at the same, all the Dashas, Antardashas will end at the same time.
Okay.
Now, but the only thing is because the moon has gone into the 8th house, what you will do is you'll use a variation here and you take a different Dasha. Otherwise, all through the nakshatra, you will have the same. That means it does not matter when the person is born, all through the day, you'll have the same dasha.
Okay.
Understood?
Understood. So it will give a more pinpoint results.
Correct.
Okay.
That is why the variation has been brought up. And I have checked this in many charts of, especially for timing marriage. This works like a gem. You don't have to. I mean, usually what happens is people use transit. People use Jupiter transit, this transit, that transit over the D9, D1, and they'll confuse themselves and they'll say, they'll give you 10 dates. Look, this, it can happen then, now. Because usually when the people, when would they go to an astrologer? They'll go to an astrologer just to find out when the marriage is going to be. So he'll tell you next year. Today he'll tell you next year. Next year you go, sir, I'm still unmarried. Okay, next year is not possible. The other next year, because the Jupiter is not aspecting. So, with this kind of dasha, with the variation dasha, I can challenge is that your birth time is corrected, and also you have the exact time of marriage with the dasha and the antardasha. It will be very clear. To the surprise of a lot of people, we just picked up random charts from the class, and people could easily predict. Okay, random charts in the class, and they said this is the time they were married, and all, if you apply all these rules, it comes like out like a clean slate. And also you can apply the Kal Chakra Dasha. Okay, using the same rules that I have listed down here. And I've done many examples in the Telugu classes, but we have not done many examples in the English classes. And at that point in time, most of the Telugu people used to hear once again the English class. So nothing was emphasized too much. Okay. All right.
It is very fascinating how you do the birth time rectification using the nakshatras and the events.
Okay.
And I'm still like surprised the amount of quality content you have. I still have a lot to go through. Some of them
Yeah,
as Mr. Vishal
even, I
mentioned,
mean, what I have done, that's why, because if you keep forgetting, it is good to have a website wherein, you list down everything. And let me just show the Hasta thing. It will be written down in the Hasta. Okay.
the rules that dictates, if your moon is on the 7th house,
Yeah.
you should use Janmatara versus if it's in a different
That's
Rashi.
given by Sanjay Rath. We have to actually thank
Yeah.
Pandit Sanjay Rath, because I was
Yeah.
struggling with Vimsottari Dasha for a long time. I did not know why the Dasha is not working consistently, because Maharshi Parashara said, no matter whatever Dasha you would want to use, Vimsottari will always work. Okay.
Right.
But this man, Sanjay Rath, has actually lit up the lamp and said, look, use the variation. It will kill all of your doubts. It's a small video which he made. You can just type Sanjay Rath Vimsottari variations.
Okay.
It works. I mean, he did not give. I actually improvised on it using these. What he did was only use these variations, and he left it there. Okay, I improvised upon this these further rules. The 7th house is a fixed sign, movable sign, dual sign, and then made the rules for myself.
I see.
Okay, these because I worked on like maybe 70-80 charts in front of me, and then that's when I understood, okay, this is how it is working.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's
Thank you
it's
for putting all
it's
this.
a work. It's a
Yeah,
it's a huge
absolutely.
amount of work.
Yep.
And to my surprise, what Sanjay Rath sir said is even Visti Larsen, if you know him.
Yes, I do follow
Okay,
PVR Garu and
Visti
yeah,
Larsen also said it works well for D9. But what I have found is even if your D10 chart, if it's not working with Vimsottari regular Dasha, you can use the variation, and sometimes it works better than the regular Dasha.
Yeah, I started looking a lot deeper into the conditional dashas that PVR Garu mentioned in his book as well.
To be
They
very
are also-
frank, I have never used any of the conditional dashas till date.
Okay.
The need did not arise.
Okay. Yeah, I was not aware of some of these things. So I looked into Vimsottari. It was not very clear. So I was trying to experiment with the
Absolutely. I
conditional.
mean, even that bothered me quite a long time. When I got to know this, okay, there is this variation possible. I tried to check in whether uh, the variations were available in the software, and they were built in already. So
They were.
even for the Android apps, if you use the Jyotish software, they also provide these variations of Vimsottari. May not be available everywhere, but a few variations of the softwares do have it. And always pick the one which has these variations. You can use them, and believe me, they work like real gem.
Absolutely. Yeah. We are very thankful to all of these
Oh yes, oh yes, oh
great
yes.
people.
Oh yes, definitely. We are thankful to everyone who gave the knowledge to us. Despite I never met Sanjay Rath sir, I never met any of these people. So it is only through the videos and their books that the knowledge that they have imparted to us.
Yeah.
Ustad, yes.
So I have a question
Mhm.
which was put in my mind by PVR Narasimha Rao sir. Like he mentioned in one of his videos that whatever prediction we are doing to whomever we are doing, and no matter what we are studying, it is all due to Kripa of Shivji, and no matter what you study, you will only be able to predict to people whom you are associated by karma.
Correct. Correct.
So
I'll tell you
no
one
matter
more.
if
I'll tell you one more thing
okay,
just to add up on that. You pick up a chart, okay, and any chart, and somebody comes to you and says, "Look, please look at my chart." There is something called as buddhi prachodana. That means your intellect has to look at that particular thing that is going to happen, and it happens only because of the Almighty. You give him the name Shiva, or you give him the name Rama, or you give him whatever name you would want to give. But uh, the buddhi or the intellect has to go to that side. That happens only when you have enough upasana, and the person who is seeking the help has enough, luck still in store for him.
okay.
Yeah.
And
Or
one more
in
thing he
other
stated.
harsh means, enough karma on his name to receive this prediction.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one more thing he stated regarding the Vak Siddhi. If an astrologer does not lie,
Mhm.
no matter what he uses, what logic he uses,
Yeah.
and he predicts, it
Yeah.
is going to be true.
Correct. Because the Yogamaya and
And
the
I have,
Krishna is going to ensure that this man has been truthful and righteous all through. So let me make this true. Even the horoscope does not say so.
and I have
Okay.
found that working. Like I've met people, they have
But
predicted to me.
look, the understanding of these classes is we do not fall into things which are which are difficult to be proven. So I mean,
Yes,
anyway,
I
astrology is difficult to be proven. I agree to that. But if we lay down rules and if we stick to those rules only, because intuition, I when people approach me, right, I always stop my intuition working. I would say, let me stop all my senses and look at only the chart and use only the intellect. I'll try to use all the intellect, come to a point wherein, okay, these are all the logics applying. That's when I switch my intuition on. And all that last 10 minutes, I keep on giving predictions and they all will come true. Because usually I spend about 30 minutes over a chart. And the last 10 minutes are like, oh, this is true. Yes, this also happened. This also happened. For that, I don't need the chart anymore because I switched on the intuition after having understood the logic. Each one has his
that
own
is the
style.
golden rule.
Yeah, each one has his own style. But I would say use the rules, stick to the rules, at least for the first 10, 15 years and, make some boundaries. Okay, I'll not cross this. I have to use these by the logic. Otherwise, what happens is people start astrology as a good thing and they will fall into, just using the intuition and talking, and then ultimately, you understood what I mean. Okay.
Yes, sir. Mm, by stating your example, how you do it, you have also cleared like how should we go about it.
Yeah, the idea
At
is
least an
that.
option.
Yeah, that idea is that.
Yes.
The idea is that.
Because when to use intuition and when to use the rules is a big question.
Yeah. You have to always start with the rules, use all your rules, get to a point where you have used all the rules and made, because usually people come for only one problem in their life. He may still say, look, sir, mera wo fail ho gaya, this is got failed, that has got failed, this has gone, that has gone, everything has gone, he will say, but it all will show only one planet problem or one house problem. No matter he says 100 things, even Deepanshu Giri also will keep saying this. The person will say 100 things. Ultimately, what you will see is either one of his house or one of his planet is the problem. You identify that house and planet, give the remedy, and tell him, assure him, look, you're going to be fine. That's it. If the help can be rendered.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Great, gentlemen and ladies. Yes. Suresh.
No, I was just going to say thank you so much.
Pleasure is
I
mine.
have so
Pleasure
much
is
to go through. I'm going to rewatch this video. There are so many things which you've done. That it's always great to go back and again and again. Yeah.
Yeah, Shruti.
Sir, I have two questions. So I think you touched upon the identification of the actual problem in the chart, right?
Yeah.
Would we be going through such a lecture in the future? Like how to identify the
That's the
actual problem?
last. That's the last one.
Okay, okay. And I just had one more question. So we had taken up some examples, right? In the group, you mentioned pick up some examples of people you know. So when would we be going through that session? Because I have to.
Nobody told me that they have picked examples. I thought maybe people are not interested in sharing any examples in the class. So if you have examples, sorry, I have not rechecked back on it. If you have
I think two
examples,
people, myself and one other person, has posted an example. I think one other person also posted. So 3 examples are there in the group already.
at least 10, 15 examples should be there. Otherwise, how would you cover up a 2-hour class? Okay. What I thought is we would have exclusively examples all through. I mean, we can pick up celebrity charts, etc. But the problem with these charts is they're so special charts. Okay, these are not ordinary people's charts. So these are easily correctable because these are special. But if you have ordinary people's charts, right, they're difficult actually to correct ordinary people's charts because there are so many things working together. For PB Narasimha Rao, everything was pointing towards he becoming a prime minister of a country which is like 1 billion people. So he has to have great planets in his kitty. That is when it happens. So it was easy for any of us to correct it. It was a straightforward thing. If anybody has to correct your chart or my chart, we are ordinary people. Okay, so it takes longer time. So if I mean, it is easy actually to pull up 10 celebrity charts and, say that, look, how I am correcting and just to boast about myself. But the objective is not about that. The objective is to understand how to correct the general public's charts. The more
So
the
just to
examples are, more is easy.
Okay, okay. To clarify this example of the general public that we are bringing, is it for the birth time rectification or is it just to
Okay.
go through the events? For what purpose are we doing actually? Because I do have many charts where I don't have the exact birth time. I have only the birth dates and I know these people. So
Okay,
I'll have more
if you
examples for
don't
that.
have a birth time, even by say, the PV Narasimha Rao's chart that we are talking about, right? We had the time of 1 in the noon. Okay, if you look at Sanjay Rath's books, he's already mentioned that around 1 noon, and he talked about only the D1 chart in one of his books, which I follow very much. The crux of the crux of the timing of events, crux of Vedic astrology. Okay, this was one of those books which I found long back. Okay, that is what actually has inspired me. So we always knew that 1 o'clock is the time. Could be around 1 hour here and there is the possibility. From there, we started correcting. You just have a date, and if you don't have even the approximate time, even by 1 hour or 2 hours, unless the guy is a celebrity, it becomes very, or he has uh, so many very unique events in his life, it becomes very difficult.
Right, right.
If it's an ordinary going chart, then it is too difficult for you to correct it because there will be so many ordinary people born on the day.
So well said. That is why everybody face problem to learn astrology because they learn on celebrity charts, and when they have hard time to read any regular ordinary people chart.
I do not want to talk about celebrity charts too much because what people will think is, okay, I have this combination as well, and why is it not working? It will not work because all of those divisional charts have to work together like that. If you look at the D10, you'll be blown away with the PV Narasimha Rao's chart. How he is able to manage it with this kind of with the kind of opposition that he has faced in his life. If you look at the D10, it will be visible there. Oh, this is how he is able to manage it. Okay. So ordinary people, you at least need to have 1 hour leeway here and there, it's fine. But if you don't even have the time at all, it becomes too difficult. It's impossible to predict. Then what you can do is use the moon's lagna, assume it to be the lagna, and try to predict events using the moon. The advantage with moon is finances, right? Your finances can be easily spelled out using the moon. So how you're like, most people ask, 90% of the questions come up on finance. Everything else, I don't think anybody will ask. Even if they ask, what else they'll ask is, when do I find a job? So it's again the finance thing. So you can talk about it. Okay, from the moon lagna. There are a few techniques for it. I have tried the Nashta Jata and all that stuff, but I'm not confident they're working. Okay, or I do not know how to use them. That is the right way of saying it.